As Washington struggled with his army's possible revolt in Newburgh, New York, an ocean away in Paris, France, American diplomats led by Benjamin Franklin and John Adams struggled to formally end the long war. The two great patriot leaders continued to maintain a mutual dislike of each other.
You may depend on this. The moment an American minister gives a loose to his passion for women, that moment he is undone. He is instantly at the mercy of the spies of the court and the tool of the most profligate of the human race. John Adams on Franklin's French diplomacy.
Mr. Adams is always an honest man, often a wise one, but sometimes absolutely out of his senses. Benjamin Franklin.
Franklin seldom operated independently as a diplomat. He was usually yoked with a colleague, and the colleagues he was yoked with were almost exclusively brusque, moralistic, and demanding. Franklin was able to appear the soul of accommodation and reason and comparison.
He loves his peace, hates to offend, and seldom gives any opinion until obliged to do so. It is his policy never to say yes or no decidedly. John Adams on Franklin.
Portrait artist Benjamin West was never able to complete this painting of the signing of the Paris Peace Treaty because the British commissioners refused to pose for him. The agreement Franklin and his colleagues reached with Britain at the end of November 1782 had to wait nearly a year to become a formal peace. It was then that Britain finally came to terms with America's allies, France and Spain.
The British came out of the war with surprisingly few losses. The great loss, of course, was the American colonies themselves. Now, whether that was a loss to the British or the Good Britons is arguable. I can't but feel that Britain was, in the long run, happier without colonies which no longer wanted her.
In fact, soon after the war ended, the United States once more became a part of the British trade empire. So Britain enjoyed the fruits of America without having to administer colonies there. In contrast, France came out of the war bearing a huge war debt. The financial burden and the French citizenry's infatuation with the ideals of the American Revolution would lead directly to France's own revolution in 1789. In front of the Temple in New Windsor, the Continental Army heard the news that the fighting with Great Britain had come to an end. The date was April 19th, 1783, exactly 8 years to the day since the first shots of the war were fired at Lexington and Concord.